thanks for joining me today. We're going to be having a look at these Schmincke paints. Now I'm hoping that I've pronounced that right. It's actually a German make and I don't speak any German. I didn't do German at school, so I do apologise if I've pronounced that wrong, but I think it's pronounced something like Schmincke. Now these are the student quality ones. So as we can see, it says Academy there, so these are the student ones. Now those of you who've visited my channel before will be very aware that I use this set of watercolours quite a lot. In fact, it's the only set of watercolours I use normally. These are Winsor & Newton's artist quality watercolours, and I've had this tin, as you can tell by the state of it, for a very long time. So I set off with Winsor & Newton watercolours when I first started, and I set off with the student ones, but I very quickly went on to the artist ones and found them much easier to use and sort of stuck with them ever since. So I've never felt the need to change because I really like these, but I do feel now and again that we should try new things, and this set, these Schmincke ones, were actually on offer. I managed to get them at a reduced price, so that's why I thought we would give them a go and sort of run through each colour that's in there and what I thought of them. So it's come, as you can see, it's come with this wrapping on it, so I'll try and get that off. So it's sort of shrink wrapped. If I can get my nail in there. I should perhaps keep the label. Does it say the colours? No, it doesn't say the colours on the label anyway, so I don't think there's any need to keep that. So this is the one that I've had before, my Winsor & Newton one's a metal tin. This isn't, I don't think, it's some kind of a plastic. And nice, yeah, that feels nice and firm actually when you open it, and it's got a nice fastening there. Okay, that's just a little warning note, so we'll move that. Okay, so it comes with 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 10 colours, but then you've got space to buy some more pans and put them in the other side if you like. And it comes with some more. Oh, do they fasten down flat? Let's have a look. Perhaps they clip. Yeah, there's some little things under there and they clip open so that they're not going to move. So we've got plenty of palettes there to mix your colours in. Let's just have a look. So yeah, it's quite, although it's plastic, it does feel quite firm. These feel quite firm. I'm just looking to see if there was a ring to hold it. No, there isn't. There isn't anything to hold it when you're working. I'll just show you mine. Can you see on the back we've got that ring to put your thumb through? That's assuming I'm left-handed, I'm right-handed, so let's put it in the left hand. So you can see there I've got my thumb through, and that's how I would hold it whilst I was working if I was outside. So with this one, there's nothing like that. You can't, you know, there's nothing to hold on to, there's no ring. So that's the first thing really to say about it. So we'll start and take these out. What I'll do, I'll probably pause the video at this moment and I'll get all of these colours out and then we can have a look at them. Okay, so I've got all those colours out and I've actually kept the little packets that they came in because they've got the colours written on. As you can see, they sort of clip in and out with these little clips here, and it does feel, although it's plastic, like I said before, it does feel very sturdy. Now they don't have the colour written on the little tub there. They do have the number underneath. Now with the Winsor & Newton, one thing I do like about them is they have got it written on the side. You can just quickly, you know, wipe the paint off and read what colour it is. So that one says permanent rose. So if you do forget what colours you're working with, it's always written on the side, so you don't need to worry about keeping your packets and things. So that's one thing I like about those. Now they look like nice bright colours. For those of you who are beginners and who don't know, so like I said, mine are artist watercolours and these are students' quality watercolours. Now the main difference is the amount of pigment that's in them. So they're the same pigments usually, but it's the amount of pigment. So there's less pigment and a lot more what we call binder, and that's sort of self-explanatory. It's what binds the paint together. Now if you think about those chalky ones we had as children, they did use sort of a chalky binder and they had very little colour in them. So they look nice and bright in the tin, and then when you put them on the paper they look all wishy-washy. So that's the big difference between artists and students, and that is why the artist ones are so much more money. But a lot of the students ones are still very nice, and good for practicing with. Even for myself, probably for practicing and doing tutorials and things, it might be more economical than using my own paints all the time for that. So I'm going to go through each colour and see what I think of them. So I'll just pop my others to the side for a minute, and I'll actually use this little palette for now to see how we get on. So like I said, that clips down. And I'm making a mess of my paper already. This is just I'll put it the other way around, then you can see. So I'll put it there. In fact, I'll do it this way. So this first yellow is a yellow lemon. And I'll just put it straight on actually, I won't mix it up in there. So that's nice and bright actually, isn't it? So just first of all do them straight from the pan and see what the colour's like. So the second one is an Indian yellow. And again, it's a nice cover, it's nice and bright. So there's absolutely no problem whatsoever lifting the colour off these pans. It's coming off very easily. You know, you can see there I'm not lifting a lot of paint and I'm getting a nice bright colour. So the red one there is a cadmium red. And then the next one is a carmine. So we've got a really nice mix of colours in this little starter set for a beginner. You've got everything you need really, I would say. You've not got a black and white, which is great because you don't need them. So many beginner sets have a black and white in, and then you know you're not really using them, or you try to use them when you'd probably be better off not using them. So the blue there was an ultramarine, and the next blue we've got is a Prussian blue. So the ultramarine's not a very dark ultramarine, it looks slightly more of a cobalt to me really. Permanent green. Again, very nice. Lovely bright colours these, I'm enjoying looking at these. And a yellow ochre is the next one. So they've put the earth colours at this end, we've got the nice bright ones and then going to the earthy ones at this end. Again, that's absolutely fine. English red it calls this next one. And to me that's a bit like a brown madder. And again, very nice and bright. I'm hoping I'm not going off the camera here. And the last one, it looks very dark on the pan, but it's a sepia, so we'll see what that looks like on the paper. Quite a bit like an umber really. Okay, so, and we'll just now, whilst they're still wet, pop a bit of water to the side and see how they move. Yeah, very nice. So I would say these are a nice quality for students' paints. This isn't the best paper, it's only a cheap paper, but it's working quite well with them. So yeah, I think those are lovely bright colours for the price that you pay for them. So now I'm going to just use sort of equivalent colours in my artist ones and put them next to them and see what we think. So we set off with a lemon. Which was my lemon? Actually, I'll put them over here and then I'll move this out of the way. I'm hoping you can still see. And I'll put them right next to them. So you can see, and we'll see how they fade because obviously they're still wet at the moment. And the next one was an Indian yellow, so I've not really got anything that's equivalent to that. So I mean, I could put the only other yellow I've got on here is cadmium, I'll put that next to that, but you can see it's not the same. So I've not really got something equivalent to an Indian yellow on my Winsor & Newton ones. Cadmium red, so we've got cadmium red, we'll put that on. bit mucky. Yeah. Just try and clean that up a bit. I've very messy palette. So yeah, if you look at that one and that one, they're pretty similar, aren't they? Now what have I got that's equivalent to the carmine? I've got permanent rose. Probably the nearest one I've got. That's much more pink than the carmine. And then ultramarine. Like I say, I think my ultramarine is going to be quite a bit darker than that one. Maybe not. That's actually brighter, isn't it? I think mine's a green hue. I'll just look at my cobalt next to it. You see what I mean? It's much nearer to my cobalt than it is my ultramarine. And permanent green. Oh, I've missed one out. Again, that's probably a much brighter colour than mine. So permanent green, which did I miss out? I missed out the Prussian blue. And where's that? That one. So yeah, if you look at those side by side, they're pretty similar, aren't they? Yellow ochre. Again, pretty similar. And like I said, I think this next one, which they call English red, is pretty much like brown madder. Oh, maybe not. It's a bit brighter, isn't it? The only other one it could be close to, or they're running into each other now, is sienna. It's a shame this hasn't got a sienna in, because that's, you know, a colour that I use a lot, but can you see the difference there? And then sepia, we've not really got an equivalent to sepia, so I'm going to go for a raw sienna maybe. Which is much browner than that. But you can see really, for the price difference, the actual amount of pigment in them, you know, the brightness of them, I think is lovely. So now one thing that I think is important is to have some nice browns and greys. So I'm just going to mix, I haven't actually used this palette yet, I said I was going to, but I've done them straight onto the paper so far. I'm just going to try and mix some greys. So let's have a think. We'll start with some of the ultramarine, a bit more water. Like I say, they lift off quite easily. We'll pop a bit of yellow ochre. And a tiny touch of the red. A little bit more. We need more blue. A bit more. We'll just have a look at that. Oops, so that's quite brown. So we need to add a bit more blue to that. Quite a lot more blue. Let's see if we can get that back to a nice light grey. Yeah, so with those three colours, so that was the yellow ochre, the cadmium red and the ultramarine, we've got a really nice brown and a really nice grey. Now let's see how dark we can get to make something as near to black as we can get. So we'll perhaps mix the sepia with a touch of the ultramarine, keeping it quite thick with not too much water in there. And see if we could get a nice dark. So yeah, and we'll mix that into this grey and see how it goes into it. And again the same with the brown. Yeah, they're going really nicely, aren't they? There's not as much granulation in these as there are. If you look carefully here, look at the Ultramarine, it's very flat on this side compared to the Winsor & Newton. I'm sorry, I'm going to stop talking, I'm just watching this go across, but yeah, I think they're really nice for student quality ones. Let's just try some greens. So I wouldn't normally just use a green straight from the pan, but I'll mix some of this green, which it calls a permanent green, straight from the pan. Pop a little bit of the red in. Might make it a bit more of a natural green. And again, that's nice, isn't it? We'll try to see what it looks like with some of the yellow added. And then we'll make a green up. That's the green with a little bit of the lemon. Just to brighten it up. I often put a little bit of extra yellow in some of them foreground greens just to bring the painting forward, as that's made it quite bright. So just that touch of extra colour, and you're going to be able to get quite a lot of variety in your greens for those of you who like doing landscapes. So now I'll just mix some green of my own, so I'll use the lemon yellow, and this time we won't use the Ultramarine, we'll use this Prussian blue. This is going to be quite bright, I would think, but and there we go, another green. Oh, it's quite a turquoisey one, let's put a bit more yellow in it. There you go. And then we'll try the Ultramarine. Perhaps to get a more natural green with the Ultramarine and the yellow ochre. Just looking at them and the way that I'm lifting them off the palette here, the only thing that is concerning me is they're coming out quite easily. Well, they won't last as long as the artist ones because, like I say, there's less pigment in them. I think they'll soon run out the amount that I use, I would think, soon having to be replacing them. But then again, we haven't paid as much for them, so that's not a problem, is it? So yeah, so you can see that's a much more natural green than mixing those two, but you're going to be able to get lots of greens, lots of greys and lots of browns, which is what you need if you're going to be doing landscape painting. You can get a nice dark if you want to get something that's near to black, and obviously you use the white of your paper for your white. Like I was saying before, you don't need a white. I think this little set here is lovely for beginners. You know, it'd be lovely for flower painting with these nice pinks and reds you've got here. Super little set. I would highly recommend it to anybody who's a beginner, I think. So plenty of colour, because I didn't reload my brush then, I just put one little bit of colour on and did all those petals. Just a bit of fun now, messing about. Use some of that green that we've just mixed up. Yeah, really pretty, very nice. So, and if we look at the way they're mixing together, where I have touched and they've gone into each other, they're blending really nicely. We haven't tried them wet on dry. Maybe some of these are a bit, this is dry here, so let's just have a look and see what it's like with another layer over the top. So you can go a bit darker. And perhaps put some over the blue and let that shine through. Let's put some blue over the yellow there at the top. You can see that shining through. So yeah, really useful. I think for a student this would be absolutely fine, and I think those 10 colours would be fine to begin with, but I like the fact that the set comes with all these spare spaces. You could even probably sit some in the middle. I mean, if you look at mine, I've got loads down the middle as well as at the sides. So if you got to the stage where you wanted some extra ones, you could probably just sit those in the middle. They wouldn't be clipped in, but it probably wouldn't be a problem. Okay, so yeah, I would recommend them, and I will use them, and you'll probably see me using them again very shortly. So thank you very much for watching. I will put the link down below to these Schmincke paints. Like I said, they are the Academy ones, so they're the student ones, but I'm assuming that the artist ones will be even nicer than these and just as brilliant colours, so it might be something for me to think of in the future. And actually that's something I could do, is buy some of the artist ones and put them down this side. You know, I could use this box, and once all these student ones have run out, I could refill it with the artist Schmincke paints. Okay, so thank you very much for watching, and bye for now. I'm back. I just wanted to very quickly show you at the end now what I've done. I've just taped all the colours down the side next to the corresponding Schmincke colour. So I'll keep this pinned to the wall somewhere so that I know exactly what colours I've got in my tin, and I'll keep them in that same order in the tin so that I know what I've got. Okay, so that's just one little tip for you to keep these all together. Okay.